30 citizens are killed and more than 70 wounded in a terrorist blast in al-Marjeh neighborhood in Damascus. Syrian Arab army forces continue to destroy armed terrorist groups' hideouts in al-Assad suburbs and thwart terrorist infiltration from Lebanon. Good afternoon, this is Irado Krikorian with the news in English. A terrorist blast took place at noon today in al-Marjeh neighborhood in Damascus. The site, a historical and trade center in the city, is usually crowded with citizens and traffic. An official source said the initial death toll of the explosion has amounted to 13 martyrs. More than 70 people were injured and a huge material damage was inflicted on the place. A media source said that the internationally financed and supported terrorism has committed an ugly crime against Syrian citizens in the historical and trade center in the city of Damascus. Major General Muhammad Ibrahim al-Sha'ar, the Minister of Interior, has visited the site of the explosion. He condemned this terrorist crime as being an act of killing for the sake of killing and evidence to the bankruptcy of those terrorists and their masters. He pointed out that the first beneficiary from those terrorist explosions was the Israeli enemy. The operations. A military source said an army intercepted terrorists from Jabhat al-Nusra who had tried to attack military checkpoints in Khirbet Soulas in Latakia suburbs, killing them all. The source added that several Jabhat al-Nusra terrorists were killed and a number of missiles and an arms warehouse were destroyed in Ghammam village in the northern suburbs of the governorate. In Idlib countryside, a unit of the Syrian Arab army has destroyed 2 mortar guns and eliminated a terrorist gathering at the crossroad of Al-Janudiyya in Jisr al-Shughur, killing all the terrorists at the site. Meanwhile, a military source in Hama said that a unit of Syrian Arab army killed many terrorists and injured others in an operation against their hideouts in Al-Hawaz of Al-Ghab area, destroying different kinds of weapons. The source added that another army unit destroyed a number of terrorist hideouts for Jabhat al-Nusra, killing all terrorists inside in the towns of Kafar Nabouda and Al-Karakat in the northern countryside of Hama. In Hom's suburbs, our armed forces continue their campaign against armed terrorist groups in the western suburbs of Al-Aqsa city. The army has thwarted terrorist infiltration from Lebanese territories into Al-Aqsa suburbs and Homs, inflicting on them heavy losses. A military source has dismissed as untrue news reports circulated by pro-terrorism satellite channels about Al-Khudr Hill south of Da'il in Daraa falling under the control of terrorists. The source added that our valiant forces intercepted the attackers and eliminated most of them. Among the killed terrorists, Ismail Dayfallah al-Jamus, Usama al-Nahas, nicknamed al-Suluk, Muayyad al-Natur, Ali Khalil al-Muqbil, Nasser al-Subhi, Ahmed al-Bardan and Ahmed Musa al-Masri were identified. Welcome back. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has said that Moscow has never tried to hide supplying Syria with arms in accordance with previously signed contracts. He stressed that any state was entitled to means of defense not prohibited under any international treaty. In an interview with the British Foreign Policy magazine, Lavrov added that such contracts stipulated providing the Syrian government with anti-air defenses. He noted that Syria needed defensive means as it was subject to real, not hypothetical threats. Lavrov called for focusing more attention on the other side and taking into consideration information about providing the opposition with offensive weapons as well as about arms shipments smuggled from Libya, including the dangerous portable missile systems. Lavrov said such information must be taken into consideration, particularly in view of statements to the effect that planes, including civilian ones, will be legal targets, which is a very grave matter, he warned. The Russian foreign minister reiterated his country's call for an end to violence and the beginning of dialogue without any preconditions. Lavrov referred to some positive changes not only in the stands of Washington, Paris and other European capitals, but also in those of some Arab states that have started to talk about things they did not talk about before, such as the need to initiate dialogue. German Defense Minister Thomas de Maizière has warned against any foreign military intervention in Syria, saying that such an action would be a very complicated and costly operation. In an interview in Washington, de Maizière said that in the meantime he didn't see a role for the military forces, rejecting any automatic military action in Syria, adding that up till now there was no sufficient information about the use of chemical weapons in Syria. Iran's Foreign Ministry spokesman Mahmoud Parest has strongly condemned the terrorist blast which occurred in al-Mazzeh in Damascus yesterday and targeted the entourage of Prime Minister Wael al-Halaqi, killing a number of citizens and injuring several others. Mahmoud Parest asserted that committing such crimes has revealed the real face of terrorists in Syria. He held some regional and international parties which support terrorism in Syria responsible for such crimes. Mahmoud Parest called on world countries and international human rights organizations to offer support in order to reach a political solution for the crisis in Syria and for exerting every possible effort to stop the violence and shoulder their responsibilities in this regard. In Iran, the second day of Scholars and Islamic Awakening Conference continues in Tehran with the participation of hundreds of scientists and scholars from different parts of the world. The participants asserted that the real dispute in the region is between the axis of arrogance led by Israel and the US and that of resistance which seeks independence and the liberation of the occupied lands, especially Palestine. And finally, Chief of Dubai Police in the United Arab Emirates, General Dahi Khalfan, has affirmed that the revolutions of the so-called Arab Spring are a huge conspiracy targeting the Arab world. In a TV interview, Khalfan said the United Kingdom and some European countries have worked for many years to bring down the countries surrounding Israel, including Syria and Egypt, in order to protect Israel. He said the banned Muslim Brotherhood organization is planning to overturn regimes in the Gulf states and is seeking to bring down the Arab world and starting regimes according to their own perceptions. Khalfan stressed that the Muslim Brotherhood organization is lying about the application of Sharia and is hiding under the cover of religion to realize its objectives. With this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to latest business and market news with Nariman Qassam after a short break.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Minister of Foreign Trade said that the ministry has never approved transporting any manufactured commodity outside Syria. He added that there was a lot of investment opportunities in Syria, such as creating the appropriate investing environment and adopting good work mechanisms that may attract Syrian investors. He said Syria has had good investment laws after the crisis, and all ministries have cooperated to determine the investment criteria in every sector. Some data today showed that the Spanish GDP has declined by 0.5% during the period from January to March, thus registering its 7th consecutive decline. The National Institute for Statistics has indicated that the economy was reduced by 2% in the first quarter of this year, after a decrease of 1.9% in the fourth quarter of last year, in accordance with the economists' expectations. U.S. crude oil futures have stabilized near their highest levels at the beginning of dealings in Asia, after being supported by hopes that the European central banks would take measures to stimulate the fragile international economy. Meanwhile, Brent futures have registered no change from the previous session, as oil prices are heading to register a monthly decline with the decline of raw material prices. European shares climbed, heading for an 11th month of gains, while the US index futures slightly changed as Asian shares rose, with the regional benchmark index heading for the highest closing level since June 2008. The Nikkei index dropped 0.2%, though it is heading to register its best performance in 20 years. In the local market, gold prices stabilized at 5,250 Syrian pounds for the 21-carat gold gram, as the Jewelers Assembly set the price of the Rashadi golden coin at 38,300 Syrian pounds and the English coin at 42,800 Syrian pounds. The euro dropped one-week high against the US dollar amid speculations that the European Central Bank may lower its key interest rate. The common currency fell against most of its major peers before data showed that the economists said that they will show the slowed euro area inflation this month. On the other hand, the yen is set to complete a 7th monthly decline as gains in the stocks boosted the demand for higher yielding assets. Ladies and gentlemen, this was our economic news for today. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. Have a nice day.